talking about what's been going on in his life since, well, actually since he graduated from high school, and he was knighted with the ceremony and the whole 9 yards. His father, Chip, is here with him, and Chip's been working side by side with his son John for many years, helping him to get to the point where he is now. This is one of the favorite parts of the nights for me. I love listening to these guys talk and seeing, you know, what direction God's taken them and what He's doing in their life, and how they've managed to trust and obey and got to the point that they are. So, without any further ado, guys, let's welcome John Bell and his father.
Good morning, everyone. I was asked to come in and share a little bit about God's plan and how God has a plan for everybody, and no matter what, His will be done. And so I'm going to share a little bit about how God has been at work in my life. And, so ever since I was a young kid, I wanted to fly jets in the military. That's what I've always wanted to do. And in high school, I was doing the nice program, and that kept me on track and everything. And then in high school, I wanted to apply to the Naval Academy. And my junior year, they had like a summer seminar program, and I got denied from that, and so I got pretty discouraged, and I just kind of gave up on the whole military career thing. I sold myself short, never ended up applying to the Naval Academy, and then ended up at Ohio State. And then my freshman year, I still had no idea what I wanted to study. I was thinking about being a lawyer or a doctor. Wasn't really too sure, and so I was really looking to the Lord for guidance. And one night I was laying in my dorm room, laying in my bunk, and I was like, I prayed to God and asked for some sort of guidance, some signal, something like that, some message. I don't really know. And as soon as I got done praying, I heard a small aircraft fly over. And so then I started taking flight lessons at Ohio State, and I'm working on getting my private pilot's license. And then it was too much fun flying, and so I was like, there's no way this can be a major. So I kind of was looking for more guidance. And one day I was eating with a couple friends at a restaurant down there on High Street, and I'm pretty accustomed to the local air traffic, because Port Columbus is like 10 miles to the east. And so there's always aircraft on the final approach, so it's pretty common. But I was praying, and I asked again for guidance, some sort of sign, something. And then as soon as I was done praying, I heard a military jet fly over, and that was like the most direct signal I've ever gotten, because it wasn't like any of the other commercial air traffic that I've heard. And so then 2 weeks later, I received an email about a Marine Corps Officers Program down in the Columbus area, and basically about the guaranteed flight contracts that they have. So I applied, and then 9 months later I got accepted. And then this past summer, I went to Officer Cannon School in Quantico, Virginia for 6 weeks. I left on July 9th and got back on August 20th. And so I basically is starting the beginning of my future career. It's just really cool to see God at work like that, and how He has a plan for everything. While I was there, it was real successful. I graduated #1 out of 250 of my peers down there, so it was real good.
Yes, we got to be company commander at graduation, which was really neat, because they had 3 different, well, maybe you could tell, they had 3 different companies, right? So
at the graduation ceremony, we graduated with 3 different companies. There was a seniors company, which are the guys that are going back to OCS for the second 6 weeks, which is what I'll be doing next summer. There was an ROTC company, and they were graduating, and they only have to do 1 6 weeks because they're doing 1 6 week session because they're down at they're doing ROTC programs at their colleges. And then there was my company, which was a juniors company. And so at graduation ceremony, we all sort of marched out on the parade deck, and I got to be in front of everybody and sort of lead them out there in cadence. And I'm terrible at drill, so it was pretty nerve-wracking, but it was good.
Yeah, I got some great pictures of it too. So I'll send them to somebody centrally, and maybe we can post them up on the website too, just for kind of graduate notes and that type of thing. John, the other thing that first thing that you said to me when Mom and I got there for graduation, you were talking to me about the church services and how you guys as Marines would go to church services. So how about you tell me a little bit about that?
When we were there, it was like the first week we were there, they sort of had a lot of introduction sort of presentations and things like that. And one of them was about religious services down at OCS, and so the chaplain came out and talked to us a little bit about the options for religious services. And I went to church service on Thursday nights and on Sunday mornings while I was there, and it was real cool. It kept everybody really motivated, just to see everybody together worshiping God, even at a place where we weren't all having the most fun at all times, and just trying to stay positive and things like that. It was real good, really helpful. Kept me really focused.
And what about the experience? You said, I think it was on a Thursday night.
It was one of the Thursday night worship services we had there, and all we had was a guitar, and so one of the guys got up and played the guitar a bit, and we were singing worship songs, and you could just really feel the presence of God there, and it was pretty moving. It was a really fantastic service.
I'm curious as to how the services were they, evangelical, and they preached the gospel?
Yes, it was real similar to here. It was
awesome.
Worship and then a message and all that, and
Terrific.
prayer. There were prayer and praise reports like that every time. So.
Awesome.
John, so what does the next 5 to 8, 10 years look like? How, you're going to be at Ohio State?
Yeah, I still have 2 more years at Ohio State. I'm going to my junior year.
And what are you majoring in there?
Aviation management.
Okay.
And that's just something sort of get me through. And then once I graduate, well, actually next summer, I should probably start there. Next summer I have to go back to Officer Candidate School for another 6 weeks. And then once I complete that, I'll be done with OCS. And then I'll go finish my senior year of college. And then after that, I think it's probably about a month. It'll be like a month limbo period in between graduation from college and then commissioning. And so I'll accept my commission, I'll become a second lieutenant in the Marine Corps, and then go off to the basic school, which is also in Quantico. And then that's at 6 months. And then from there, I graduate, which is the basic school is, it's like basic training, but on the officer side. So it's just like boot camp. It's not just like boot camp, because everybody's already commissioned officers, but you can learn all the same, similar skills, things like that. And then since I have a flight contract, after the basic school, I go to flight school.
What's your commitment to the Marines? How long will you be in?
10 to 12 years.
Okay. And are they? I can ask. Are they paying for some of your education and stuff too? Or how are they?
I could ask for some of that. There's applications and things for financial aid, but I haven't taken it yet.
So you're committed to the Marines, and they're committed to you and guaranteeing flight school.
Well, yes and no. Upon graduation from college, I can choose to accept or decline my commission. So if something else,
so there's some flexibility.
Yeah, there's a lot of flexibility.
Yeah, and that's why they don't pay for the college education.
But
he does get paid to go to OCS, which is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, but to have that flexibility, you don't get any college scholarship. So.
And that training for the summer. When you're
run
talking to
through
your buddies, what do you say about it?
Run through it a little bit.
Pain in the neck?
It actually wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
This summer they try to retain as many people as possible, because only 46% of the candidates that go down from juniors come back for seniors. So they try to get everybody all enchanted and gung ho. So we got to go to the one of the things that we did. We got to go to the Marine Corps History Museum. We were supposed to have a helicopter ride. That didn't happen. But a lot of it's early mornings, lights were at 05 in the morning, and then we went to bed at 9 at night. So it was busy days, lots of in-classroom instruction. Marine Corps Officer Candidate School, they train, screen, and evaluate the officer candidates, and sort of weed out people that aren't supposed to be becoming Marine Corps officers. So that's the goal purpose, the sole purpose of it.
And what brought you to number one in that class? What kind of things did you excel at?
Basically the GPAs were broke down. 50% was leadership analysis, and then 25% was physical fitness, and another 25% was academics. And so my GPA, which I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was broke down into those two things. I excelled in physical fitness. I prepared pretty well to go down there, and the physical fitness down there was it was easier due to the preparation, preparing before going down. And then academics, I did fail 2 tests, which it was like 80% was to pass, so I had to retake those. And then the leadership analysis. Basically, I'm trying to like sort of explain the way I did it. There was, I'll just do this for example. There was one of the things that made up the leadership analysis was the leadership reaction course. So it was like a fire team size, so it was me and 3 other of my peers. And we would, they present to you this impossible task pretty much. And mine was all I had were 2 oil drums, some rope, I had a 2x4, and I had to get this ammo can across this river, and there was like just probably about from here to the table worth of water, probably more actually, probably to the end of the table worth of water, and there was like a blown up bridge and all that. They present you the situation, and they just want to see how you react to failure, how you adapt and change your plans, and then command presence, and how well you sort of take control, and how well you maintain control. So that's how that was broken down too. And then academics was all tests, and physical fitness. We did an obstacle course, a stamina course, and all those things were graded.
And then do you, during the academic year at Ohio State, do you meet once a month?
Yeah, I have a monthly pool functions with the officer candidates that are down in Columbus.
Yeah, you talked about a little bit about the preparation that you did. So, you know, I think sometimes when you contemplate as sons or fathers the discipline you need to have to excel, you know, one of the things that John did was he took actually an officer candidate school prep course for the seniors. So they actually have a class at Ohio State that's geared to the guys who are coming back for their 2nd year, and the 2nd year, and John can share a little bit about this, is harder.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
why don't you share a little bit about how that benefited you and what you had to do?
Yeah, absolutely. So I like my dad said, I took a Marine Corps Officer Candidate School prep course through the ROTC program down there, and it's actually called the Bulldog Prep course because what the ROTC candidates go through down at OCS, they do the entire 6 weeks, but they pack juniors and seniors curriculum into that 6 weeks. And so it's a lot more intense. And so I took that class. I was getting up real early spring quarter. I was getting up at like 4:30 on some mornings just to get down to the ROTC building. And it was really worth it though, because at the time I was like, I cannot believe I'm doing this. This is my spring quarter. What am I doing? The weather's nice. I'm getting up really early, but it was absolutely worth every second of preparation I put into it. In general, though, seniors next year is going to be a lot harder because once you make it through seniors, you're pretty much you can commission. So they try to weed out everyone who shouldn't be there and who isn't, going to make a good Marine Corps officer. So.
Right. So there were about 280 candidates that came in for juniors. You finished with
238.
Right. So a number of people washed out over the 6 weeks, and then of the remainder, as John said, 46% wind up coming back for seniors. The rest of them say, hey, this isn't for me.
Sure.
So, I mean, just a natural weeding. The other thing, too, Greg, and you had talked about in terms of Missio Day and, having relationships and inviting people over for dinner and that. The other thing that you shared with me, too, was being able to share your testimony around God's leading towards this with a couple of Marines too. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
We were on Liberty. It was just on the weekends from Saturday night until Sunday night, starting week 3. So weekend, it was the 4th weekend that we were there, the 5th and then the 6th. We got Liberty crew where we could leave base and come back. And so me and 3 of the other guys that I got pretty close with in the platoon, we got some food and all that. And we were just hanging out at this hotel, I guess just loitering around, waiting for the taxi cab to come pick us up. And so we got into this sort of deep discussion, and I was able to, tell that story. And we were, it was good because him and I just sort of, hit it off, and it made a lot of sense to him. And it was just something that we both shared a similar belief in, just the whole idea that your future has just been predetermined, and just the way you get there. And so, just seeing that there was somebody else who saw that was really cool.
That's cool.
With college as a whole, what's the biggest challenge that you've found as you headed off to college and you've been there now for a while?
Time management. I'd say freshman year was a little more difficult with time management, but now I've got a pretty good grasp.
What does that mean? To give us some details.
Just sort of finding a good balance in between how much time you're going to dedicate to classwork, how much time you need to dedicate to classwork, to sleep, to friends, if you're in a relationship with that. And then I was also doing club sports, and so my grades started slipping freshman year, and then I decided that it was time to sort of prioritize. And so I got rid of club lacrosse, figured I'd hang up the boots, and done with that.
Yeah, and grade slipping, he got 4.0 his first quarter, right? So detected it early is what I'd say, and then made the adjustment.
Yeah. And then that was really about it. It's just trying to find a good balance in between everything, a healthy balance. Because it's about being well-rounded, I think. And, you can't just be really book smart and make it far, but you have to have other skills that you can learn through interactions with people, talking with everybody, discussions, debates with other students, stuff like that. Any other questions or anything like that?
John, I'm sure these young guys are all ears listening to you, and we have Will here, who's going to be going to college next year, I believe. And for all these guys, you kind of talk about what your toughest challenge was. You said it was time management.
Oh, yeah.
Going into college when you first went.
Right.
Is that right?
Yeah, time management, and then I'd say mostly just like staying true to yourself, I guess, something like that, where just being who you are, not really changing, deep down inside who you are. I mean, you're going to change physically, you're going to change mentally, you're going to adapt new, perspectives on things, but just, I guess, staying true to yourself. And then homesickness too. That's what.
Homesickness.
Yeah. My younger brother Andrew's experiencing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So,
And what do you think were the top couple things that really helped you be prepared going into college? When you first went, family, faith?
absolutely, family and faith in the top two right there.
Were they?
Yes, absolutely. It was good to. Well, I know that I can always call my dad or my mom or anything if I'm having any kind of problems, and for guidance, things like that. I always pray. I pray a lot. I just try to stay pretty close to God when I'm in school and all that. Go to church service on Sunday nights. I go to the Newman Center, and then I'm trying to think of something else. I guess establishing like a solid core group of friends down at school, and like branching away from high school friends, because you got to meet new people and things like that. Because if you end up hanging around with the same people, nothing's going to change.
Because when you went off to college, it was probably the first time you were away from home, correct?
Yeah, for an extended period of time.
For an extended period of time. So really, you had to kind of own your own faith at that point. You weren't going to church with mom and dad or anything else.
Right, it's all on you at that point. It's all your decisions. There's nobody looking over your shoulder or nothing like that.
Mhm.
No one making sure you get home on time, none of that, so.
Only person looking over your shoulder is Jesus.
Right. Oh, yeah. I'm just
I know,
talking about,
for people-wise.
Yeah. What about your temptations at college?
Temptations at college, geez. It's just like partying at that party scene. You just maintain control. You see a lot of people who get out of control, and it's just maintaining control of that. And sort of distancing yourself from, things that you don't believe in, stuff like that. There's been several parties that I've had to go to, and that I went to and then I left just because there were activities going on there that I didn't agree with, and that I really didn't want to be associated with.
Do you get ridiculed for that or for your faith?
I actually haven't experienced any of that, really. Not at all. I think I surround myself with a pretty solid group of guys. I'm in a fraternity down in Ohio State. Everybody's sort of, it's real open-minded. Everybody's really understanding all that. So.
And there's a guy in their fraternity that leads Bible study too.
Right.
So.
And so there's Bible studies that are in the fraternity house on Wednesday nights.
And Andrew went off to Miami, and his roommate's a Christian. You know, you don't pick your roommates, right? So his roommate's reading his Bible every night, and could be an influence on Andrew. So Father, be praying for your sons too, right? That they're surrounded by the right people and that they continue to have the guidance. I know my wife and I, when John was at OCS, we prayed so much, for him, just being concerned about